Here I am with yet another mid-range gaming PC, which you guys can copy easily and where we use some pretty unusual components to make it a little bit more unique and to get a little bit better value for money. Welcome back at What in PCUs and let's get started. Now, if you guys have been watching the channel, you know that the best value CPU to buy brand new currently on the mid-range for gaming only is the Core Ultra 5 225F, which I refer to as the i5 225F because I don't like Intel's naming scheme. That's basically a downsized version of the i5 245K, which has been dramatically improved via Intel updates in the microcode and via Windows updates in the scheduler. So nowadays it's a lot faster than at launch, and if you spend just a few minutes tweaking it, you can actually make it handle all the way up to an RX 9070 XT or an RTX 5070 Ti. The key to that is putting a good cooler in it. The motherboard doesn't really matter. So here today we have a very entry-level motherboard from Asus. This motherboard I actually very much dislike and don't recommend. I think the IO shield is terrible. It's also tricky to install. But overall, since it's an Asus motherboard, it has decent build quality and works well. That's pretty uninteresting. Let's start with the actual interesting parts. So Intel handles much higher speed on RAM than Ryzen. And even nowadays with the shortage still going on, since the prices have inflated everywhere, I find you can actually get higher speed RAM for closer to the price of lower speed RAM. So if you have an Intel platform, definitely capitalize on that. In this case, we went with some Kingston Fury Beast 6800 MHz RAM with just a little bit of tweaking, actually go very fast. If you go ahead and actually unlock the power limit in the BIOS a little, again, I have a full video on how to undervolt and overclock this CPU on the channel, you will find yourself with a massive performance boost if you have the right cooler. And today we are trying GameMax components. So for the SSD, I actually went with a regular Samsung drive, very uninteresting, it's just the one I could get for decent price. I don't recommend you guys copy me, I actually recommend you guys go ahead and buy a Kingston NV3, it's better value for money. But for the all-in-one case, I went with something very special. The all-in-one market is very competitive, there are tons of good deals, but this one, if you want an LCD screen, is one of the best, and it's very unique. So as you can see in the build, you basically can't see the all-in-one cables because the cables are routed straight to this GameMax Glacier 360 white cooler. Basically, it has cable management for the tubes attached to the actual radiator, and the radiator is massive. The fans are regular 360, but the radiator is a bit bigger, so this is actually not gonna fit in every case, but it does fit in every single of the new series of GameMax cases because of course they made it for their own products. It's gonna fit generally in every case which has space for 140mm fan as well because it's quite a bit larger. However, the extra headroom allows for a pretty good cable management, and the all-in-one comes pre-mounted. You don't have to do all the daisy chain, connect all cables and have the cables dangling down from the back. It's all pre-mounted. In this case, it's also white and it has a dismountable LCD screen. Mounting process itself is pretty standard, nothing really to talk about there, but this actually performs crazy well. We will see it later with the benchmarks. It also looks very well, especially if paired with this case right here. So the case is still from GameMax, it's the Claw 460 white, and on the front it has those transparent little things which look great. In person they look even better, they reflect the RGB a little bit, and it is fully mesh. So they managed to keep some design elements while still making the case mesh. Of course, this is not an aquarium case, so it may look less special to you if you're used to all the strange cases we have nowadays, but it's a very good standard case. It has mesh on the back as well. It has a pretty good 3 intake, 4 outtake setup, and the fans have a pretty special RGB since they not only have a ring, but they actually get dented a little bit towards the frame of the fan. And they are all controllable via the included RGB controller in the case. They also give you a remote with it, but you can also sync it with the motherboard as usual. I just plugged my all-in-one in the controller and it was good to go. Very easy to install, very spacious. It also has a GPU stand and it's very easy to build in. Now, what are the pricing for this all-in-one case? They are actually mid to low range pricing. I find the all-in-one you can buy for under 100 bucks and the case right around there if you look well enough. The only problem with those currently is availability. They are not available yet in a lot of areas, but once they become available, I think the price may even go a little bit down, but at this price, they are very good. Unfortunately, the GPU we put in there is not the biggest, so there's a lot of empty space, as you can see, but we went with an RTX 5060 Ti to keep the build in the mid-range PC like this, you can expect to put together for around 1,500 bucks. Maybe even a little bit less, actually. I think if you really watch your deals and RAM pricing aside, you can probably put it together for just over 1,000, because the i5 is super cheap. You can buy a cheap motherboard. If RAM pricing is decent, really there's nothing else where you can spend your money, because we went with a deep cool 650 watts PSU, because the i5 doesn't draw any power and the 5060 Ti doesn't draw any power either, by the way. The GPU is 16 gigs, okay? I will never mount 8 gigs 5060 Ti, just to be clear. Now, with all that, what's the performance? Well, I'll show you quickly the CPU-Z score for the CPU, but if you care about the CPU, I have other videos about it. I think it's great value. Check out this Firestrike score. This is very, very impressive. We actually got the world record, but it's just because no one uses Firestrike anymore except for me. But check out the temperatures while running Firestrike. The CPU, with the power limits at stock, was at 50 degrees. Basically, it wasn't even under load. It's the idle temperatures of many other CPUs and coolers. Even fully unlocked, the maximum it reached is 60 degrees, so it's a very, very good performer. And this cooler can actually handle all the way to a Core Ultra 9 or to a Ryzen 7 9950X 3D. No problem. It's a proper high-end 360 meters only one water cooler. The only caveat I would say is the software. I will show it to you. It's a little bit tricky to customize, and it wasn't picking up my GPU temperature this time. But the actual screen is good. I think with a few updates, they can definitely fix it, maybe get rid of the Chinese writing, because I don't speak Chinese. I would like it to be English or Italian, since I'm Italian, you know. But overall, it's pretty good. Now, you may be wondering, how's the gaming performance? Well, check out this Apex Legends gameplay. 300 FPS, pretty much locked on an i5 and 5060 Ti at 1080p. You can also play literally any single player titles, 1080p no problem, and with a little bit of upscaling, again, we are fully maxing out 5060 Ti with no bottlenecks, because the i5 can handle much more, so you can expect the usual performance from a maxed out 5060 Ti with this kind of build. I think this is easy to replicate, and it's what everyone should be building nowadays if you want to buy brand new components and if you don't want to venture into strange stuff from AliExpress, the one we cover on the channel. But as usual, I want to hear what you guys think as well, so if you would change anything, drop a comment, let me know. And if you like the video, drop a like, subscribe, and you can also now become a member if you want to support the channel. With that said, see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.